afternoon. I am Davina, Chelliah, and I will be performing two play extracts from Mental. The first monologue I am going to perform is taken from the one-act social satire titled 14, written by Alice Gerstenberg in the year 1990. This play revolves around Mrs. Pringle, who is planning on hosting a dinner party to introduce the city's most eligible bachelor, Oliver Farnsworth, to her daughter. A terrible blizzard forces her guests to cancel, and she is left to salvage the rest of the evening as well as the dinner table layout. I will be playing the character Mrs. Pringle, a frustrated control freak who cannot cope with the last-minute cancellation. This play revolves around the themes of anger and frustration. I shall go mad! I'll never entertain again! Never! Never! People ought to know whether they're coming or not, but they accept and regret and accept. They drive me wild. This is my last dinner party. My very last. Fiasco! An utter fiasco! A haphazard crowd hurried together. And I had planned everything so beautifully. Now how shall I seat them? How shall I seat them? If I put Mr. Tupper here and Mrs. Conley there, then Mrs. Tupper has to sit next to her husband. And if I want Mr. Morgan there, oh, it's impossible! I might as well put their names in a hat and dogmatic random. Never again! I'm through with society, with parties, with friends. I wipe my slate clean. They'll miss my entertainments. They'll wish they had been more considerate. After this, I'm going to live for myself. I'm going to be selfish, hard, unsociable, and I'm going to drink my liquor myself instead of offering it gratis to the whole town. I'm through with men like Oliver Farnsworth. I don't care how rich they are, how influential they are, or how important they are. They're nothing without courtesy and consideration. Business, awful and train, nonsense. Didn't want to come, didn't want to meet a sweet, pretty girl, didn't want to marry her. Well, he's not good enough for you. Don't you marry him. Don't you dare marry him. I won't let you marry him. If he tried to elope or anything, I'd break it off. Yes, I would. Oliver Farnsworth will never get recognition from me. He's beneath my notice. I hate Oliver Farnsworth. The second monologue I'm going to perform is taken from the one-act play Goodbye Charles, which is based on the book by Gabriel Gates. This play revolves around Jill, whose husband Charles mysteriously disappears after she refuses to grant him a divorce. I will be playing the character Cynthia, Charles' friend, who is addressing the man on his knee. However, she is afraid of who she will become if she says yes. This play revolves around the themes of irony and perplexity. Don't do it! Don't open that box one more crack! Don't ask me to marry you! Shh! Don't say another word! I was cold, cross, crass, and falsely compassionate. But since being with you, I've begun to feel all warm inside. Fuzzy. I find myself contented, stroll in the park and whistle. I have these thoughts, these urges to donate to charities, help out in soup kitchens, and hug people. Since being with you, I've given nearly $10 to homeless men, helped 3 old ladies cross the street, and I even bought one of my so-called friends a present at full price, and it was something that I knew she'd like. Don't you see? Don't you see that you made me nice? And what really scares me is that you'll open that box and ask me to marry you, and I'll just nicely say yes. And then I'll be nice for life. I'll be singing Kumbaya for the rest of my days. I'll give back to the community, to the Salvation Army, to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and I'll do it anonymously. And then, one day, years from now, I'll wake up and have a horrible realization that I lived a good life, that I contributed. Please, for the love of God, put that box away. I mean, the planet already has millions of nice people. It doesn't need me to. I am terrible, and I want to stay that way. Please, stop. Don't. I'm asking you. No, I'm begging you. I'm getting down on my knees. Will you please not marry me? I'm going to perform a devised speech based on the play by Gabriel Lewis. In this piece, Cynthia meets Jill, who is Charles' wife. Cynthia and Charles have just left the Chiefs Club so that Charles can spend the night at Cynthia's place as he is trying to get away from his wife Jill. Jill arrives at the Chiefs Club only to see them leaving and decides to follow them. She is now outside Cynthia's apartment and plans on barging into her house to save her marriage. At this point, Jill has accused Charles of having an affair with Cynthia. Cynthia tries her best to prove that what she thinks isn't true. I will be playing the character Cynthia once again. Phew, that was a good session today. I'm really glad it happened. My husband's been away for almost a month, and I was on the verge of telling him to stay there instead of coming back home to me. Anyways, do have a seat, Charles. I'll make us a hot cup of coffee. Was that the door? Could you please get it for me? Who was it, Charles? Charles? What in the world? Oh, hello. Who's your friend? Your wife? Oh, you must be Jill. Where are my manners? Please do come take a seat. Make yourself comfortable. I'll pour you a cup of coffee. What was that for? You think I did what? You think your husband is that handsome, did you? You have no idea what's happening here, love. Don't worry, Charles. I'd love to handle this. So, Jill, tell me how you came up to such a wonderful conclusion. I know exactly what's on your mind, young lady. And let me assure you, your marriage is in jeopardy, but not because of me. Still don't believe me? Well, you have to admit that your marriage was a joke from the start. Quite literally. Oh yes, Charles did tell me that story. living my life. I wasn't a nice person at all. That's why I was afraid of saying yes in the first place. My husband made me a nice person, a pleasant person. But I can't be that person if he isn't around. So that means you're stepping on thin ice. And the very fact that you decided to spy on your own husband proves that you were doubtful from the very start. So spare him and spare yourself from this embarrassing situation and just sign the divorce papers already. Heaven knows he needs a break from you. My point is, just give him his space. You see, this is why Charles has commitment issues. He just needs his space. What? You're leaving? That's good news to me. Off you go. Okay, Charles, I'll get you a blanket. Let's hope the divorce papers get signed tomorrow. I'm going to be performing an improvisation based on my play 14. My character, Mrs. Pringle, is unable to leave the house as she is unwell. She decides to send a video message to her friend's birthday party for everyone to see. Is this even recording? All these gadgets and gizmos are driving me crazy. Elaine! Elaine! Oh, the concerts will be here any minute. The stupid device is beeping at me. Please fix it. You can't fix it. You can't do this, you can't do that. You can't do anything right, can you? You should be grateful you have a mother like me. I'm even missing my best friend's dinner party just so that I could host another one for the concerts so that Oliver can finally meet you. Great! The stupid box is beeping at me again. Oh, it started. Hello, Harper dear. Hello, everyone. Actually, I wanted to film this video to wish Harper a very happy birthday. Unfortunately, as you can tell by my voice, I am unwell, and so is Mr. Pringle in the lane. And we surely don't want to come and spread the flu to you too. Anyways, do enjoy your evening. And Harper dear, have a wonderful year. We will meet you when we are well. There, done. Oh, I'm running late. The concerts will be here any minute. I don't even have time to watch the recording. Oh, done. Give me a minute, Elaine. I'm talking to him. Done. Please drop these tapes off at Mrs. Harper's house. And do come back quickly. Give me a minute, Elaine. Oh, yes. Those plates are perfect. Great. The table is set. The food is ready. Hush! I'm trying to think. Yes. Let me review the dinner table layout. Your father will be seated at the head of the table, and you will be seated to his right, and Oliver's left. And Mr. Farnsworth chose, how successful do you think your performances were? What went well? I think that my performances were successful. In my first monologue, I was able to convey Mrs. Springle's anger and frustration. In my second monologue, I was able to show how desperate Cynthia was and how much she wanted him to take back his proposal. In my third devised speech, I was able to show Cynthia's other side and what her personality was actually like before she got married. The next question I chose is what happens either before or after one of the extracts from the piece I performed. In my first monologue, Mrs. Springle, after she is done ranting, she receives a phone call from Mr. Oliver's assistant. He tells her that the Prince of Wales and he are in the lower part of her hall. Mr. Farnsworth knew that he would be unable to make it and also knew that the prince would be on their way. He made arrangements because he was afraid the prince would be stuck in a blizzard. So, at the end of the play, Mrs. Springle had her 14 guests, as well as the Prince of Wales at her dinner table, which was better than having Oliver Farnsworth. The third question I would like to answer is how I employed my voice or body to show key moments or dramatic development in one of